Hello, this is Kalyan. In this video, I will demonstrate a MongoDB analytical pipeline that focuses on array deconstruction and grouped funding body analysis. I will first build the aggregation stage by stage in the Mongo shell environment, and then I will briefly show the same pipeline with MongoDB Atlas. The aggregation question 5 asks us to consider completed projects ending in or after 2018. The funding source array must be broken down so that each funding body can be analyzed separately. MongoDB must then calculate the number of completed projects supported together with the average actual cost and average projected cost for each funding source before sorting the results by the number of completed projects. Let me go to the shell to execute the question. Before constructing the pipeline, I will briefly show the key field involved in this example. Within the supporting body embedded document, the funding source field is stored as an array. This means that a single pitch development project may contain multiple funding bodies listed together. In order to analyze these funding bodies individually, MongoDB must first deconstruct the array. Now let's go to the first stage, which is the match stage. This filters the full collection down to only completed projects that ended in or after the year 2018. Therefore, only recent completed developments are passed into the downstream stages. Now let's go to the unwind stage, which is the most important stage in this example. Prior to this point, each document may contain several funding bodies inside one funding source array. The unwind stage breaks that array apart and creates a separate pipeline document for each individual funding body value. Therefore, if one project had 3 listed funding organizations, it now contributes 3 separate rows into the pipeline. This is essential because MongoDB can now examine each funding source independently. Now let's go to the stage 3, which is the group stage. MongoDB groups all the unwound funding entries according to the individual funding body name. With each grouped funding category, the pipeline calculates the total number of completed projects supported, the average actual cost, and the average projected cost. The output has now evolved from exploded array rows into grouped funding body summaries. Now let's include the sorting stage as well. The final sort stage arranges the funding body groups from the highest number of completed projects downward, making it easy to identify which funding organizations are more heavily involved across the project collection. To demonstrate the effect of altering an upstream stage, I will now tighten the completion year threshold from 2018 to 2021. Let's run that as well and see the difference. Because fewer completed projects now satisfy the filter condition, fewer funding entries are unbound and the grouped support totals change accordingly. This again demonstrates how modifications made in an earlier pipeline directly influence all later analytical summaries. Now let us do the same thing in Atlas as well. Let me go to Atlas. So I will now reproduce the same analytical logic within MongoDB Atlas. Atlas provides a cloud-based visual aggregation builder where each stage can be created, previewed, and tested interactively. So let's go to stage 1, which is the match stage, where Atlas filters the collection to only completed projects ending in the year 2018. We can immediately preview how the builder narrows the full dataset before any further transformation takes place. Next, this is where Atlas visually matters in the second stage, that is the unwind stage. Atlas visually applies the unwind operation to the funding source array inside the supporting body embedded document. Instead of keeping several funding bodies together inside one document, Atlas expands them into separate pipeline entries. This confirms visually the same array deconstruction that was previously demonstrated in Mongo shell. You can see the preview of how they got unwind. Now in the stage 3, the third stage groups all these unwound funding entries by individual funding source and computes the number of completed projects together with average actual and projected development cost values. Atlas therefore provides the same grouped analytical summarization while allowing the output preview to be inspected stage by stage. Finally, the sort stage ranks the grouped funding organization from highest project support count in the descending order. Produce the same final ranked results as obtained in the shell environment. Let's run. By executing all stages together, Atlas confirms that the same aggregation framework logic can be transformed seamlessly from command line execution to a cloud-based graphical MongoDB environment. So if we want, I can do the same change to the year 2018 to 2021, and let's run that again. Once executed, the grouped funding totals and averages adjust automatically, again proving that Atlas responds dynamically to upstream pipeline modification exactly as the Mongo shell does. This cloud-based reproduction confirms both the flexibility and portability of the MongoDB aggregation framework, since the same analytical design can be executed consistently across shell and Atlas environments. Thank you.